morning. Nothing happened. It was just a jagger, and then we never got sent to the rooms, but we just went to sleep there. Okay, let's get started and push through. So we are on day 3 of this adventure into the pathways of the heart, our own hearts, where we feel stuff, reclaiming the organ of perception, the organ of feeling, which is the heart, reclaiming our capacity to feel. Reclaiming our capacity to feel unconditional to what we're feeling. Now, as we said on the first day, the heart, like the eyes and the ears, is an organ of perception. It's a way through which we experience the world. While eyes have sight, ears have sound, heart has feeling, and not just physical touch, but the depth of feeling. That means that if we look at a movie on social media and we see there something really cruel happening, that cruelty is felt here. If we feel the vibration of sadism out there in the world, it's felt here. If we feel the kind of repulsive, of a narcissistic trait, we all have moments of narcissism, especially in trauma. That ihsa is felt in here, otherwise we couldn't recognize the frequency. But our instinct, the way we've been taught, is first of all not to feel stuff at all. Feelings are totally optional in terms of our education and our conditioning. Secondly, that if you do have a feeling, it's got to be the right feeling that's told from beliefs or from outer authorities. Like the typical school trip where the kids all go on a school trip and afterwards you get a message from the teacher. They went to Ein Gedi and and a great time was had by all. Mm-hmm. And you ask the kids, how was it? Shit. Mm-hmm. I suffered this and I suffered this, but this moment was great. It's a whole experience. No, a great time was had by all, nekuda, full stop. We dictate. As if what the heart is sensing in its own right is not relevant at all if it doesn't fit in. As if our heart doesn't matter, as if the depth of our feeling doesn't matter, as if that within us, which is able to feel, doesn't matter. So what is it within us in the depth of the heart which is able to feel? We are taught to believe that love is a thing, for example, I just take love, which is out there. If we get it out in the world, and we can control it, and we have to work for it, and we can lose it. But actually, what's much more true is love is a sensory happening. It seems to be an experience which we could describe, at least the after effects of the love, of a warming of the heart, a feeling of homecoming, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of opening, of recognition and attraction. But those are after effects. What is it really? These are all effects of love. And one day, your beloved can make you feel like that. The next day, he can make you feel like a schlump. Like, bleh. These are effects which come and go. So what is this quality of love? So partly what it is it's that which is able to feel. Love is a sensory aspect of our consciousness. It's the love which senses love. It's the love that suffers loss. It's the love that grieves. It's the love which is longing. We can say the same of other qualities. peace, it's a sensory ability. The sense of peace is the peace sensing. It's part of our feeling repertoire, our aliveness. It's the peace which suffers conflict. It's the peace which can feel all the different vibrations of peace. And we can go on with all the qualities like this. They are all part of a kind of a refinement of our conscious awareness, our sensory ability, our sentience, the sense of truth. The sense of reality. We can experience fake, artificial, cover-up, masking, but what's experiencing that vibration? It's the sense of reality. The reality is sensing the dissonance, the cover-up, the density, that something's not quite fitting together, the misalignment. The reality is an active sense, is sensing that through us. So you see how immensely important it is to come into this dimension of true nature, because we're literally looking at our ability to feel where we are. And as Bart said earlier, feeling is including all the other senses. It brings them all together. In the end, everything is a feeling aspect. We feel through our eyes. It's a vibrational event. We feel vibrations through listening, also through the body. The scent is a vibrational event. It's the little, whatever, it's stuff vibrating. I forget the name. A chemical reaction, which is a sensory event. Feeling. And we can even feel that we are feeling, so it goes even deeper. We can become aware of the vibration of our own ability to feel, aware that we're aware. And this always has a deepening, a centering, a balancing, releasing, comforting, nourishing effect. But it also has a whiplash. It has a whiplash, like a moment of love or a moment of peace or a moment of togetherness has a whiplash where all of those blocks in the pathways of the heart start to rattle, where this was not allowed before, where the love in us it was too painful for it to live, where the peace in us, it wasn't able to be, where the freedom wasn't able to be, where it suffered. And the effect of that. And these form the blocks in the heart. In certain conditions only, because there's always love, there's always the sense of peace, there's always the sense of truth, but there will be certain conditions, certain perfect storms, where suddenly it gets cut off, and the trauma is getting cut off from that. It's like being blinded. It's an incredible shock. It's close to the essence of ourselves and the depth of ourselves, a rupture between ourselves, our personality, our functioning, and our feeling ability, meaning that within us, which is most alive, most experiential, that aspect of consciousness is not allowed to feel what it feels. So this we came into a little bit yesterday with an extremely triggering day of the victim and the perpetrator, where immediately it went into this binary pair of good and evil, and neither, spinning. Like it's good to be the victim and really bad to be the perpetrator, but it's actually quite bad to be the victim. And maybe it's good to be a perpetrator, and oh my God. Simply in this movement, outwards and inwards, expressing love into the world, receiving them. Opening up the sense of peace in the world, receiving the peace from the world inside, opening up the pathway. This is all victim and perpetrator. We are all victims of our mother's love. We are all perpetrating that love in some frequency on our children or on the world. So later on today, we'll do the somatic integration exercise where we really bring together the two very strong exercises of yesterday of victim and perpetrator. But what's nice to look at is a little bit how these blocks are formed, what they're made of. And for that, we need to go back to something of the formula of how a trauma is formed. Pathways of trauma. So we'll go through it a little bit in slow motion, because now we're looking at it particularly in the pathways of the heart, and every moment of this is an experience which is a layer of the block. So this is a sequence in time, but it's also how a block is formed in the heart, in layers, sensations. Layers we will meet or might meet. So the first thing is that we are, let's say we are in our true nature. We can be a baby, we can be in any moment. We doesn't have to be a baby because we're always in our true nature, but we are in a moment of relaxed openness, experiencing the world like pure experience. In pure experience, we don't see ourselves. It's literally, we are just in naturalness. We're totally natural, open, relaxed. Even to put words like trust or peace or happiness or well-being, it doesn't even fit because that would be a split. And then comes the shock. Something happens which is completely off the map of what we would expect. And shock, as we've spoken about previously in the previous modules, is a sensory experience, meaning the body remembers how it feels to be shocked. The system remembers the sensation of shock. Like a sudden rude awakening. And in that shock, which is happening directly on a quality, let's say if we were relaxed, the shock is happening directly on the experience of relaxation. So the experience of relaxation, the sense of relaxation is experiencing shock. It's like stopped. It was an expanded, unfiltered, seamless, expansive experience, and suddenly it's almost like a blank, a shock. And it becomes physical, a physical event. And in that moment, all there is basically physical survival instincts. It's like here, now, everything narrows. The shock partly might dissociate us to go to a place so that only what's needed in order to survive is relevant here. We're not touchy-feely anything. Relaxation, forget about it. Love, peace, freedom. What about my mummy? None of this is there. It's literally we go into pure survival. And the first aspect of trauma comes forward then. It's like we are trained like an animal being shocked to imprint these first vibrations very strongly. It's like electric shock therapy but on the dark side. So let's say we were totally relaxed as a child, and then we were walking down the street with our friend, and a car comes and knocks over our friend. There's the shock. There's the impossibility, the horror. A very strong sense of reality, blood. There's a kind of stillness, a horrible silence. We're not thinking, oh, my friend, I've lost my friend. Not at this stage. So the sentient impression is happening directly. We're not even saying, oh, that was my fault. I was just not pushing him off the pavement as a joke. something very existential, very alive, almost stronger than true nature, stronger than relaxation, stronger than peace, stronger than friendship, stronger than playing. Something so fucking real. This is the first wave, and the sentient ingredients are all there. And each ingredient is a bit shocking. In that moment, there's no identity, no belief, no attitude, no nothing. If it's contained, it might go further. It might go into total dissociation. There might be a complete fainting or a blackout, or other stuff can happen. But we walk the pathways that we can walk, and the rest will follow.
So can I then that you rely on like channeling?
In that moment, you simply exist. You just exist within this. In the first instant, there's the shock, and then there is the horror. There's the very strong sense of reality of what we're experiencing, what we're witnessing. There'll be a need to move, to do something, but maybe frozen. This is all energy as well. At a certain moment, things start to move around. Even if the kid himself can't move, things start to move around. Somebody stops, the driver stops, somebody runs. It begins to unfold. It's unfolding, it's happening. And this is also an experience where it's seen from, what's being felt, what's said at that moment, what's heard. This was your fault, at that moment. But maybe it's better to hear that than to be helpless within this. So these are all the first wave. As it unfolds. And it goes on. It's not like one event. It's not that one moment. It goes on. Later on, our mum comes out hysterical. Thank God you're alive. Thank God you're alive. Thank God it wasn't you. Which says so much about our mother and our whole relationship with her before that, and the whole attitude of the family. There's so much in a moment. Thank God it wasn't you. It can hardly compute. I just give one example. And it goes on. It goes on for days, weeks. I'm talking about the core traumatic experience. It's not done. It's peri-trauma. It's happening in real time. Like we are right now, all of us in peri-trauma, trauma which is happening in real time. We have been there, and especially you guys have been there for years now, 2 years at least, but maybe longer. It's happening in real time. It's still happening. We don't know how it's going to end. So all of this is there. But at a certain moment, what comes forward is that the individual needs to position themselves somewhere within this. Somebody says, okay, you need to eat. You need to go to bed. When do they go back to school? You need to function. This is also something. The primal need is to communicate, to share, but something of what has been experienced directly. Not the facts. My friend got knocked over after I was playing push off the pavement with him, and now he's dead. Not the facts. What's actually being felt by the individual. That which has been experienced by the individual, in this case, the child, which nobody ever will be able to share as an experience. Because they have never been in that situation. And if they were, it would already be different, because this child has a particular personality, a particular essence, a particular way of relating to the world. So there's a very strong need to be able to tell something, even if it's keywords, of what's being experienced. Even though nobody else will ever get it. And at that stage, there's not actually a need for anybody else to get it. There's a need for others to receive it. Because in the receptivity of others, that they can allow this to be there without fixing on it. Like, the boy says to his mother, I felt utterly like the world was ending, because this is the words he could come with. And then she goes to the neighbors, oh yes, Charlie felt like the world is ending. And she tells her mother, the grandmother, Charlie felt like the world is ending. It's already, he doesn't feel that anymore. And that's not the feeling. Without fixating it, to be received from that dimension in the experience, as it changes, as it evolves, as it moves. I feel like it was my fault. Now, what mother wouldn't say, no, it wasn't your fault? It really wasn't your fault, Charlie. It really wasn't your fault. You were just playing. You're just a child. It wasn't your fault. You couldn't have known what could happen. Maybe she goes on for a good 20 minutes. Why it's not his fault, and now he's sure it's his fault. And it was a feeling. It wasn't whose fault is it? It was an experience of. And you see, all of this is affecting previous traumatic events, from his relationship with his mother, his situation in the family, his situation with friends, his feeling about himself. Everything is shifting. Everything is changing. So this is all within the first wave. Direct experience, which in the first instance, to get there, it's a inside lonely job. To come back there, he needs to come back into that place where he experiences this directly, as if there was nobody else in the universe experiencing this together with him, because there is not anybody, there was not anybody experiencing it together with him. Now you can feel the spiritual awakening already in its potential there. Because in this moment, in this room right now, we think we're all sharing the same experience. We are absolutely not. We are and we're not. As Shiri said before, there is everybody's angle. You're all looking towards this, towards Bud. Sorry. But the way we look is unique from moment to moment. The angle we're looking from, what Bart looks like to Aya, even before you look at her position in the room, is completely different from what he looks like to Mayam. Sometimes his nose is bigger, sometimes it's smaller, and from this angle it's different, from that angle it's different again. There's different associations, there's a different connection to different frequencies of love. It is completely and totally unique. Only you will ever have this experience of Bart in this moment, and maybe the next moment it won't be the same. And there's a great loneliness in that. So at least what we can do is share the uniqueness of what we feel when there's a need. That's a pathway of expression, a pathway of acknowledgement. It helps start the processing. It means it has permission to be here. Doesn't have to be right or wrong or good or bad or forever and ever. It means we're able to feel. And all we need is for that to be received. But then comes the next wave. Already now, the purity of the experience is hard to access. But now comes the next wave. 3 weeks have gone by. The school is getting involved. The community is getting involved. He's still thinking about it. He still wants to talk about it. He should be over it. Let's give him some therapy. Let him smash some pillows. This will maybe make it better. Let's do a campaign across the town of safety on the roads in the name of his friend, and he can maybe be there to help. Let's take this child and make him into, you see this, how it works also with survivors of Nova, and let's make them into the property of the community, because we can't bear this experience. So we're going to take this object, which is the child, and we're now going to use him to make sure this never happens again. But for the child, it already happened. He becomes the mascot. And each time he expresses the pain of it, people try to make the pain go away. He gets a bit older, it's like, smoke this. Relax, relax, smoke this. Now, for this kid, the moment he smokes a joint, he begins to relax maybe. And immediately he goes down a trauma tunnel. Because relaxation is exactly where he was when this happened. You can't relax. Anything could happen at any moment. You relax with your friends. Relaxation caused this shit to happen. Nobody should ever fucking relax. Nobody should go outside. Playing with friends is a deadly business. You see how many qualities now are tagged, are associated with terrible outcomes. And in all of this, the circle around him, his family, the community, the school, they're like, he's damaged, he's traumatized, he's broken. So now there's something else going on. He's isolated in a second wave. He's made into an object based on the authority from the outside. So he has to look at the cues from the outside if he's allowed to express this feeling anymore or not. There's no place at all for his expression of guilt, except for when he's really drunk. The loneliness has become immense. The feeling of exclusion, the feeling of being controlled, being used. Because he's being used.
Is this in no direction?
Let's go around the circle, we come back to it. Though it's not rapture, it's rupture. It's where we break from true nature.
How is
where we cannot give the relaxation. Sorry?
I'm sorry. How is he being used?
He's being used because the example of this horrific thing that happened in the village of Dork is now embodied by what happened to his friend. So now children everywhere are being educated because of what happened, and he's being made to tell his experience, to educate other children, never to play around on the road, on the pavement. So the politicians are coming. What?
Sorry?
Half. The politicians are coming, the mayor's coming and visiting him because the mayor has to look good, like he's compassionate, right? So he comes and he visits him, the mayor of Dorp. And little Charlie's looking at the mayor like, who the fuck is this? What does he want from me? And the whole arrogance and political importance between the visit to reassure little Dork. He's being used. People make it into an object, they make it into an event in order to stop the feeling which is there of the horror, and in his name they will then act. He becomes the example. And what's known to him consciously is just about bearable, but what's being said behind his back, how he's used through the Shadowlands, all those kitchens in his classmates' family homes where they're saying, don't be like Charlie. You have to look after your friends. Be careful of the trucks. Be careful of the road. Look what happened to Charlie. Where the insinuation is, but it's never spoken to Charlie, but basically Charlie did it. Behind his back, and he can feel it. He can feel the vibration. This is paranoia, but it's a sensation in the heart. But he doesn't hear it to his face. Also, this is showing up. So it's all quite unbearable. So what we've got now with the second wave is layers. We've got the core trauma, the core sensations, the integrity of what has been individually experienced. Next, we have the feeling of isolation, being excluded. This cannot be. I cannot be. I am the trauma. So the very strong sense of trauma. Sense of being stigmatized, being labeled, like Bart spoke about the victim yesterday. He's no longer Charlie, he's the kid that. this happened to? Did you hear what happened to him? Now, he's not, it's a year on, 2 years on, he's not allowed to speak about it anymore because he should be over it. But other people, when he comes into high school, they're speaking about it. He's the one that. And what does he feel? So what we've got now is a lot of isolation, betrayal, isolation, paranoia.
What betrayal about?
Betrayal is that the kid that he was sitting next to on the bus, who he's friends with, who he's been friends with since first grade, is now telling the sexy girls in high school what happened to him, what happened to Charlie. But this kid won't listen to it directly from Charlie. He doesn't ask Charlie, how are you feeling with it these days? You see my friend over there, Charlie? You know what happened to him when he was 5 years old? You won't believe it. Using his story, using it to bring attention towards himself. The juice of trauma, this good bit of death. To get a sense of importance, to impress the girls, as an example. This is abuse. It's betrayal as well. It's betrayal of the quality of friendship. And interestingly enough, it was the quality of friendship which partly suffered the trauma in the first place. So now it's repeating the second wave. It's betrayal of the relaxation within the social environment. Again. And the great big aspect of all of this is the perpetrator. What's never said to his face, what he's not allowed to feel, is that Charlie did it. Charlie killed his friend. And because it's never spoken about, it's never reality checked, it's never processed. Charlie is guilty of the death of his friend by a truck because he literally knocked him off the pavement and then came a truck. He did it. He did it. And he's not allowed to feel guilty. But he feels so fucking guilty because he can't process this. There's no apparatus, there's no way to bring this aspect into wholeness. And it's true, he did it, but he's completely and totally innocent within it. He would never have played pavement game if he had known what was going to happen. He loved his friend. So what's growing is this great big shadow of the perpetrator, also here. So while sometimes he can feel, oh, poor me, this happened to me, self-pity, victimhood, this he can hardly feel. It almost becomes a state of being bad, depression. A nervous anxiety where he makes jokes about people killing each other and you're killing me and I'll kill you, and all kinds of strange effects like electricity coming from around the block. Dark humor, which can be extremely funny. Great way to process the perpetrator. But not, and ultimately to avoid it. So partly what's happening here in this formation of the blocks, no, we will continue. I don't want to get too messy. So he's back there in high school and he's acting out now. He's on Adderall and tranquilizers. He's got counselors involved and starts the mental intervention. Now the psychologists are getting involved, with all respect, because the attention and the connection is of immense value anyway. But often what's this showing up in is behavioral therapy. Let's try and make the best of this broken creature, because there's no accessing true nature normally. Let's try and take this broken personality and make it function as good as possible. So let's inculcate a new kind of reality, which is like post-trauma, a new kind of normal, a broken normal, where he's able at least to do his homework, maybe not get drunk too often, that he still can form some friendships. That his behavior won't go too much into the extremes of fear, panic, meltdown, suicidal ideation. And he's being watched all the time, but he's never really being invited to tell, to explore, to go back there. And partly he's not being invited to go back there because the death of a child is unprocessable to the vast majority of people. The death of the child at the hands of another child, even more so. It's like, who wants to go there? It's almost like voodoo, pew, pew. If I go there, it's almost like I'm inviting it. It almost becomes superstitious. It's so not allowed to exist. Children should not die young before their parents. It's unnatural. It cannot be here, which means Charlie cannot be here. So now we've got the third wave of trauma. He's in a therapeutic process, which is basically reiterating that he cannot be here, except as a very broken, compromised individual. Now we can say you moved through it really great. You moved into resilience and everything's absolutely great. But if that perpetrator aspect is not addressed, he hasn't moved through nothing. That's what he experienced. Maybe the days before they played pavement, they had a real fight. Maybe there were moments when he wished that his friend would just bugger off because his friend was cruel to him. Who knows what's the background? And still the innocence is there, together with the guilt. But he has no permission to feel the guilt because immediately then he's not innocent and it's unbearable. You can't put that on a child and it's all in the name of care. But what kind of care is this if he's not allowed to feel what he feels? So he's come back through intervention, through societal factors, through outer authorities, back to a new kind of normal where he's somehow able to function. Now, this new kind of normal goes into the place of habit and reflex, and he's going through his life. And this is how he survives, with the stigma, with the background of feeling guilty, basically feeling like a war criminal, watching a lot of horror movies. In his normal, drinking a lot. Then at a certain moment, and this is where it becomes almost calmer, another shock will come. It can be a little shock in a similar environment, or he reads about something, or he watches the wrong movie, and there's a reset again. And there's another opportunity to make the circulation in such a way that the core of what he's experienced directly from his essence is able to be processed. So there's constantly a chance to do it again. It repeats, it circulates. And maybe itself, it's a kind of circulation, because now we move into karma or a spiral. So this is partly how the block is formed. These are the energies we can meet. It's the feeling of impossibility. It's impossible for me to be here. The sense of isolation. And if we move in and say, no, you're not isolated. I'm here, and so are your guides. Go back there and be there for yourself. What are we doing to the experience again? Why would we do that? You know, Charlie's now grown up. He's with one of us as a therapist, and he says, I'm experiencing this horrific isolation, like I'm surrounded by endless evil. I can't even put words to it, this void. We say, this is not ultimately real because I'm here with you now. I'm here. And he's getting more and more frustrated in the therapy because it's like we keep taking it away from him, to keep taking away from him the experience. It would be better to give him the fullest permission to describe the isolation and homework, go back there when I'm not with you. When there's nobody there, pure. Give him the trust, or them the trust, to be able to feel what they feel. It's just a feeling. The moment they are allowed to feel what they feel, the feeling aspect is coming online again. The flow of feeling is coming online again. They can feel the unbearable, they can feel the isolation. It's empowering to be able to feel how fucked we are. And it's empowering in such a way that it's immediately, especially if it's a big taboo one, a big block, you can feel that, oh, God, I feel like a war criminal. Immediately it becomes a feeling and not an identity. It becomes an experience, which means that we are also able to experience anything at all, which means that our whole ability to sense the environment, to sense the frequencies, heaven and hell, and everything in between is opening up again. We're coming back to life. The generator is starting to work again, the central processor. It's just a feeling. So partly when we're working with the pathways of the heart, with blocks, this whole circle goes back again in the other direction. The first layer we meet will be the outer layer, the divided normal, the healed version, the traumatized functioning one, which is not yet resilient in being able to feel anything at all, full of shadows, full of projections. And each time they come to this place, they're already talking about people who don't take care of their children out there, the irresponsible ones, the neglect, so that their children are hurting each other, or whatever other shadow is built here, obsessively almost, projecting it out onto the world. And as you begin to take them home again, and what are you feeling? What are you feeling? Well, I'm feeling kind of maybe numb, maybe nothing, but basically somewhere in there, there will be a feeling of being not free, controlled, pleasing, having to deliver something. This would all go with the divided normal. Having to be okay. And there'll be so many beliefs associated with that potentially. To hold it all together, to hold it together for my children, for my family, for my country, in order to be able to make money. Who has time for this? Whoever had time for Charlie? Nobody. So why would Charlie have time for this? We go in, and maybe one of the first layers we meet, it will be then what they understood, where they were met in therapy in throughout all of that time, and where there were conclusions. So my previous therapist said that I really worked through all of this, and that it's quite amazing that my anxiety isn't worse. And then what will come after that will be, but I've been through this so many times again and again, and that's really not my issue now. That's not the reason I've got vertigo and keep falling to the ground. Not that old chestnut, not again. This is also, and that's got a frequency. It's like the frequency of the vibration is the tiredness and the exhaustion of going through this shit again and again and again and abusing it backwards, forwards, up and down, and the whole world is and nobody gives a shit. That feeling. Just tired of it. I am tired of this story. And what are we going to say? No, you're not tired. It's an interesting story. No. Yes, feel that tiredness. Feel that exhaustion. It is there as a sensation. And what particularly are you tired of? Other people telling me how I should be. I just write a script. So at a certain moment, we come backwards, we're reverse engineering towards the social trauma. Memories will come back. You see, it's a long process.
What is a mental intervention?
Mental intervention is where the person, sorry, I should have said more about that, where the person's own mind says the quality is to blame for this whole shit show happening. So it's because I was relaxed. It was because I trusted. It's because I was so innocent. We demonize the quality of true nature, the aspect which is actually wanting to heal us. We make the enemy. Beliefs are formed. Attitudes are formed. Never be innocent, because you will be a friar. A sucker.
Don't relax.
Don't relax.
The newspaper will come and pay you nothing and sell your story to the whole of England or Israel. Never be innocent. Innocence kills people. Don't be so damn innocent, Charlie tells his children. Naive. It's beliefs formed particularly in order to kind of organize the traumatic mess between true nature and to shaft true nature, to invalidate our own feelings. So you see how, so we're going back, we get back again at a certain moment through the social trauma. If we can allow those sensations, it can move quite quickly. We'll get to the core moments, just moments of the core experience. But it's again and again, it's almost dogmatic. What does it feel like for you now in the heart? The heart is always here now, not what did it feel like? What are you feeling now behind that? What are you feeling now behind that? Out of the story, it's moving with the energy, with the vibration of feeling. Now, at a certain moment, the sense of shock will come, the rupture when we're going backwards can be almost a rapture of like storming the White House, like history is breaking, that excitement, that's like the sky is open, like rapture, because also something in the psyche is no longer a prison, the personality, the broken normal. Why do a lot of people go into a kind of dramatic sense of awakening and well-being when there's a crisis like a pandemic or a war? Because they don't have to keep this traumatic normal together anymore. They can just be here now in the awakeness of horror. It's better than being caught inside this dysfunctional, stigmatized, limited, guilt-struck form of a personality. So we're moving backwards. And then as we move backwards, the sense of shock can indeed show up then as a conscious awakening. So what was a traumatic shock, a rude awakening, as we move backwards towards the essence, there can be a conscious awakening in which there's a realization that they are okay, they've always been okay, they will always be okay. Maybe the quality of innocence comes forward. Something clocks that actually I've always been completely innocent. The innocence has always been here. The innocence is here regardless of what happens, regardless of what I did, regardless of what happened to me, regardless of what was done to me. A kind of awakening can happen as we reverse engineer it. And that's partly why it becomes very much connected with the process of non-duality, a non-dual awakening, the liberation. Now, in this whole circulation, in both directions, especially when we're working therapeutically, at any moment, what our client will do is they will dissociate from feeling and factualize it, make it a fact. They'll split. And the commentator will show up. It's okay, well, this situation is actually all completely impossible. Or, you're not taking me seriously. Projection on the therapist. I don't feel like you're hearing me. You're not taking me seriously. You're not respecting what I'm saying. What's the sensation? What have they come out of? So that in that case, the vibration would be invalidation, the feeling of being invalidated, cancelled. Now, this same person maybe is horrified, haunted by the fear of being cancelled, by this movement or by that movement. And partly why they're so haunted by this feeling is because it's so difficult to feel that sense of invalidation here. And invalidation isn't named as a feeling or an emotion, not in regular therapy, but it is. It's a very particular, unique experience in the heart of how our feeling capacity feels when it's completely invalidated. Like when a child runs to its mother and says, "Mummy, I love you," and Mummy's on the phone and says, "Not now." Well, go clean your room. Invalidation, shock. Impossibility. What is the feeling of impossibility? The feeling of exhaustion and impossibility. We can commentate on that. We can factualize it, but it's an incredible suffering. I cannot be here. Love cannot be here. Relaxation cannot be here. Splitting. Relaxation cannot be in the real world. Relaxation can only be in nirvana, in the afterlife. Splitting. Beliefs that were formed back then. This is why we did Jacob's Ladder yesterday, to bring consciousness of beliefs, to bring space where this no longer becomes an impediment. Because when we go to a belief, a fact, it's impossible to be here. Fact, it has been decided. The process stops. So fuck it. Let's go shopping. Never come back until brought back there by a repeat of the same circle. So we could say, why would we shit shovel? Why would we go there? Let's just function in our dysfunctional way. Let's just be crazy people in an insane world. We could do that. But these beautiful, amazing, potent qualities are such bastards because they will torture us until they are free. Love will torture us until it is free to flow. Freedom will frustrate us. It will show up as rage, as rebellion, in so many, as compulsion. So many ways. It will not rest. It's just part of who we are, which is so potent that it can't be locked down. It will find another way. It will project. It will obsess. It will move into OCD behaviors or into addictions or into whole dramas of experience, just because it has to be alive and free to move. So love, for example, when love is not allowed to be here, she can move into an obsession about how I must be loved, how I am lovable. Of course, I'm lovable, but what I have to do in order to be loved, and all the conditions of what is necessary for me in order to get that love. And it goes further and further out, but you never really know if you're getting the love because the quality is not allowed to be there until it's safe. So if the quality is not allowed to be there, there's no love in it already, but we're trying to prepare the ground so that it's safe for the quality to be there, but the quality is there. So it's coming through the back door with a lot of power and backfiring like this. Am I lovable? Am I lovable? Am I lovable? Do you love me now? All like out here towards the outer world, for example. Will you love me? Won't you love me? Will you love me like the daisy? Won't you love me? Loves me, loves me not, loves me, loves me. It goes round and round and round and round and it spins. The natural flow of unconditional love is not allowed to be because that's where you suffer the devastation, where we suffer the devastation of love suffering, where love suffers. So we want love to be here. This part of our soul can be here, but it must never suffer. So we try to control it, and in that it's like taking something with a very high potency into a very small space and trying to control it, and it becomes a compulsion or busy mind. Sometimes when we get into these are all healing movements in a way. It looks like pathologies, but they're basically healing movements. And sometimes the best thing that can happen is a very deep shock of being unlovable, a very big rejection. To experience ourselves, to have something happen, and this is why karma is so kind and such a bitch, to experience, for example, being utterly and totally unlovable. And the amazing thing is we'll get that experience even without people even doing anything to us because there's such a strong need. And when we experience the unlovability of ourselves, the self disappears. There's just this suffering, nobody loving, of not being lovable, unlovable. And the moment we're experiencing that, the love is online. There's love all around it. It's such a suffering. Love goes to suffering. Love goes to where it's needed. If we allow it as a sensation, as opposed to a thought, something turns around where there is love through us coming towards this aspect which is unlovable.
So when you say that, you don't mean that we experience being unlovable, that you mean that we're having, you said something before about being unlovable, but you really meant us having the experience of feeling unlovable. Not the fact of it, but the experience. Yeah? Can you hear me?
The thing is that when we factualize something, we say again and again, as a fact, I am unlovable.
Right.
It's as much a fact as anything else.
Right. I didn't quite mean it that way.
It was just we hypnotize it, but what we want to come to is to experience how it is to be completely and totally and utterly to the soul level unlovable.
It's the feeling experience of being unlovable.
Always everything is experience.
Right. the feeling experience of being unlovable. Okay.
Meaning that even if, you could walk down the street and nobody did anything and it's ripe now, it's time to come there. It's the karmatic moment. You bump into a lamppost, crash your nose, there's blood. You fall into that experience of being completely and totally fucking unlovable. It breaks open the one thing which has always been denied. I am utterly and totally unlovable. And the moment it's allowed to be there as a sensation, what will happen is it will begin to find its context in time and space from the moments where this experience has been there before. But it's no longer absolute. It's no longer a judgment on the soul. It goes back in time to where it was born, and it becomes something we are able to contain. In its integrity, in its uniqueness, it becomes manageable, a form, as opposed to a prohibition, a taboo, a formless threat that sends us running from the unlovable towards everything in all directions, being chased by the unlovable towards the unlovable, all in the name of love, because love wants to be free. How can anything be unlovable without love being involved?
What did you say?
How can anything be unlovable without love being involved? Love defines the feeling. There's no possibility to experience unlovable without love being there in the background, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. It's like you are uncharitable. You're unpeachable. You're unflorable. It doesn't mean anything. To be a nothing, to be the opposite of something, the something has to be there. Love is around, but not in the way that we want it. Love is around because we haven't got any. But for us not to have any, it has to be around. It's kind of logic. I don't have any cake, but there must be cake somewhere.
Everybody gets cake, but I don't get cake.
But if nobody gets cake, it's not even relevant. No cake, no cake. I get fresh air. You see that when we go into the negative, the negation element, negation is also a vibration. We're together with cancellation. We go into the negative. We are looking directly at the quality. It's right there next to it.
But you said I go to the experience of unlovable and then bring the quality to help me to contain. Then I need to connect to the quality.
Yes, it doesn't have to be so regimented. Just your going to the experience is already bringing love to the experience. The love is in your attention. The love is in your consciousness. You don't even have to feel it. Just the experience.
Unless what we do in sometimes in these cases is that we bump our nose against the pole. We are there. We feel completely left alone, unlovable, separated, and somebody comes to you and asks, "How are you feeling?" Fuck off. So all the rage which is there is also coming out, and the person fucks off. Okay. And so we re-traumatize. Sometimes we really kind of organize to re-traumatize by kind of, what comes towards us, what could be helpful, what is not what we believe. It's not for us. There's no love for us. There's no attention for us. Nobody's there for us. And somebody comes.
The one thing that shocked there, and the one that thinker said she moved her away from
Yeah. Exactly. Go. Because it is too much. It is the belief which is there. It is too much to contain this pain of being unlovable. And when the love is there, the pain of unlovable is actualized. Of course.
You reject.
So you reject because it's going straight into the pain, which is already there.
Also, fair, like when somebody loves you and you feel the lack of love, it's like it's almost painful. It's painful. It's not almost.
But it's painful.
Because something is open up there.
Yeah.
But you attract to yourself people that don't bring you this, because if they bring it, it will be more painful.
Exactly.
It's not even so passive as attracting. You can sit and listen to your clients, and they will give you a whole case of why they're unlovable. Out of the conflict with being unlovable, they will tell you a billion different ways how they are unlovable, as in this example. At a certain moment, if you turn to them and ask them, are you trying to prove something? Because really they are organizing their attention and their focus towards getting this experience of being unlovable. They're longing for it. They want it so much, and they'll come with all the evidence. It's the same with rejection. I was rejected here, I was rejected here, I was rejected here, I was rejected here. What are you trying to prove? That I'm always rejected. Okay, so you're always rejected. So can you connect with a moment how that feels in the heart? I believe you. You don't need to prove it to me. You are rejected. And when we try and, in the name of therapy, try and argue with what they're trying to prove to you, that the world is a shithole. And we say, no, it's not. It's nirvana and true nature and all of this. It's like,
Everybody cares about
so
it.
you
No,
are
she's
shithole.
rejecting you. Oh, you're crazy. You know, and we come with examples where the person is not rejected. So basically what we do is we block the system.
You allow the experience that you are rejected, you want to keep talking.
No. He wants to prove that he's rejected because the system is so much longing for that experience, for this to be validated. I feel rejected. They want to know that this experience of the pain of rejection is allowed to exist. And only when it's allowed to exist can it belong.
And this is,
Get that.
yeah, exactly. The therapist make this is really kind of good to bring home. Therapist makes this so often, and friends make this thought so often, this mistake so often. Somebody feels guilty, like the boy who kind of pushed his friend in front of the truck. And he says, I feel
Didn't
guilty.
do that.
I feel guilty. And I feel horrible about it. No, you're not guilty. It was an accident. There is no reason to feel guilty. So we take away this feeling. We do it especially with guilt. We do it especially when there is a lot of pain. We feel the incredible pain of the guilt, the incredible pain of the neglect, the deep fear which is there.
The sense of injustice.
The sense of injustice. So what we want to do is to calm the person down, to be that sounds like being compassionate, say, okay, no, it's okay, it's okay. You know, people really care about you. You are loved.
So what?
You understand? So we take away the possibility to move to the core pain and to be able to contain it. So again, we isolate the person in himself. And by this, we come then to the dividend normal.
Divided normal.
Divided normal, the person has to act as if he is not guilty, as if he is not forsaken, as if he didn't lose anybody, as if
his heart doesn't matter at all.
As if the pain is not there.
Or the experience.
Or the experience doesn't exist.
Is that because people, other people?
Sorry,
I'm sorry. Because other people are consistently telling him, no, you are loved. No, you're not guilty, etc. So he is finding that in order. Okay.
Rather than bringing love to the experience.
Not allowed to actually feel what you feel.
Exactly.
The core quality is allowed to be touched.
Yeah.
And you keep going around it and around it and around it, but you don't touch the problem and just stay all around.
Yeah. And you start to hate yourself because you come back to the same feeling again and again and again. And, you know, it isolates you. You cannot kind of really share it. It's a horrible situation.
And what's the deepest inculcation of trauma is a whole psychology where our ability to feel doesn't matter. It has no purpose. And it's backed up by the experience. It feels like purposeless. There's a big sense of despair there. That what we experienced is not valid. And beyond everything else, we are not able to contain what we feel. What we feel is bigger than us. The guilt is bigger than us. The horror is bigger than us. The pain of the trauma is bigger than us. The grief is bigger than us. Don't go there. Take medicine. Take tranquilizers. Do something not to go there. Because if you go there, kaput, everything will end. So this is a very strong belief that if we let ourselves feel, we won't cope. We'll fall to pieces. And it's exactly the opposite. We fragment, we disintegrate, we scatter, we dissociate when we believe and experience that we're not allowed to feel, that it's not safe to feel. When we allow ourselves to feel, a whole dimension opens up behind that of conscious awareness, which is that which is able to experience anything at all. I can experience my inner psychopath, I can experience my inner murderess, I can experience what it is to rape a person, I can experience anything at all. None of it defines me. It's all anyway what has been sensed as a vibration through the heart. All the colors of the rainbow. It's not personal. We're able to do it. This is resilience. We are able to experience. And then the identity becomes free.
Then what?
The identity becomes free.
Hmm.
We're no longer caught in I must be this and not this. I have to be defending myself from God knows what all the time in danger and fear. And it becomes free. I can be the perfect woman to go to the bank who knows and never does crypto and who pays all her debts. I can be the perfect daughter for my mother. I can be the good wife. My identity becomes free and none of it defines me. I'm still here alive and relating to all of those, even the bank manager. But we go too far. I think it's more than we can contain. So we will stop and take a break. Yeah.